Searching record, perhaps? Okay. And Nadine, could you please help me being a secretary for a moment until Kyla arrives?
Sure.
All right. So thank you guys on arriving and attending this meeting today. So let's get into the topic. Actually, we have one topic from partner conversion. So I will read what Kyla has said. So she had a meeting with an owner representative from Nusa Penida area called the Klumpu Villa. So she discovered that they actually have stopped using OTAs altogether for a year due to management issue. The property was once handled by a management company and used all OTA. But throughout the partnership, the management didn't give them money even though they did have bookings. And there are many other transparency issues that I think makes the agent make the partner trust less with property management. The manager was interested, knowing BV provides BV Go to help enhance transparency. Currently, they only use agent. They will agree for being marketed by BV if we can help them close all the listings the old management once had. The management won't close the listing and out of contact, so they have difficulties in promoting the properties. So her question is, I'm thinking about offering them a marketing with our own channel without having to close the old listings, but they seem determined to close the listing first. I need opinion upon how to tackle this. Should I just persuade them or should I try to contact the old management first? Somehow still that. Maybe what do you think for the situation?
The question is, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about offering the marketing
Should
with our own channel
Kyla-
without having to close the thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, close.
So I think the main problem here, Kyla is just confused on whether to negotiate with a partner and just hold stern to market with our new listing, or should she approach the uncontactable old property management and try to close the old listing? Yep.
For partner, we are not dealing with management. So are you willing to go with us? You take care of your side. You decide you want to go with us or no. So if you're going to go with us, this is the step. You know, finish whatever the deal with them and, you know, square them down and then go with us with the, you agree with the term and condition with us. Because it is funny because this property is like before when the beginning when they have construction, I went there actually to offer and they decide to use their friend that they know. Okay, very interesting. I know this villa.
Oh, have you approached it more and they don't
Yes.
want?
Yeah, decided to use their friend.
Okay, interesting. But yes, Nadine, you
Nadine raise her hand.
you raise your hand.
Okay. Actually, Wayana's opinion is interesting for me. If we look, we have the principle to be solutive, right? Your opinion is not really helping enough actually for me. So how would you improve that? I mean, is there any other way you could tackle this more?
That's an interesting approach.
Because what you call, and again, so is we want the commitment of the partner, right? So if they want partner with us, so they have to commit with us. So we are actually, if we can see like the integrity and to the what you call decisiveness. Which one you want to choose, right?
Actually, they want to have a commitment, right? But they need something to be exchanged gitu. Okay, if you could do this, I can commit. I can commit with you. Something like that.
That's basically what they say. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Mr. Jing, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm actually. This is really interesting, ladies. And the reason it's interesting is because this isn't actually a traditional persuasion negotiation case. Actually, this is a little bit the next level. Okay, and I'll tell you why it's the next level. Okay, I'll give you a story. A story will help kind of cement this idea. You ever see those movies where the student goes to like some martial art master, right, to learn kung fu? So they go and I'm going to be your disciple. I want to learn kung fu, right? So the master like will say, okay, all right, I'll teach you kung fu. So the student learns kung fu, and they become amazing at kung fu, right? And then they go out and they cause trouble. They go and they beat up people on the street. They create a menace, and I think this is the premise of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, actually. So the next lesson is actually above the lesson of actually knowing kung fu. The next lesson is when should you use kung fu, and when should you use another way to actually deal with the situation. Nadine, I told you, I think at one point, like you're going to notice that sales and persuasion, persuasion negotiation is a very effective tool. You're going to be able to use it in many different circumstances. It's going to become very, very useful for a lot of situations. The question also starts becoming, should you use persuasion negotiation in every single case? Should you actually approach, okay, let's analyze this particular case, right? So this person made a mistake, their own mistake in judgment, right? They chose to go with their friends instead of going with us, okay? Now they're asking for us to clean up their mistake, right? And on condition that they will give us this particular thing. We already have been wronged once, right? And you should have went with us, and then you wouldn't have even had this problem. But because you decided to go with your friend now has this problem. That's your problem, sir, right? If you had gone with us in the very beginning, we would be level, okay? So when we think about trade, we need to remember the context of the trade. You don't want to get caught in a trap. You don't want to get caught in where the partner just offboards all their problems to your side, and they just said, yes, I'll commit to you after you take care of all my problems, right? That's not a very good deal. The deal should be like this. Since we began here, now we are below where we began, right? Now, technically, I have to do more work to get your partnership than I would have to do if you just said yes, when we first approached. Would you consider paying me more now if I actually solve this problem for you? Because I need to dig you out of the hole in order to bring you back to the level again. All right? And then that is how you negotiate, right? So sometimes, remember, we negotiate to be helpful. Sometimes we negotiate because we want to get the deal, right? But let's not forget the context of a particular deal. Let's not forget when to negotiate and what to negotiate for. So in this particular case, I think this person is negotiating with us, right? To get us to do work that should be their work, and clean up the mess that they had with their management and such and such, right? Juan is right in this case. This is their mess. They need to clean it up themselves and start from the proper level. If they are ready to start that way, then we can take part. And this is important, everybody, because what would happen if we went and cleaned up their mess for them right now? They would know I'm getting something for free, right? You're cleaning up my mess. So next time when I create a mess again, guess who is going to clean up my mess again? You are. Why would I expect differently? You did it last time, so why don't you do it this time again? This is how bad partnerships happen, everybody. Bad partnerships happen in the beginning by not like, imagine this. Imagine somebody who does this. They're going to say, I'm not going to pay you anything, right? But after you succeed, and then I'm going to pay you. So you succeed, and then you come back and say, I succeeded, but you needed to succeed actually a little bit more. After you succeed more, then I will pay you. And then it's a never-ending loop. You don't want to get caught in that, okay? So my wisdom tells me in this particular case, you probably should not get involved in this negotiation until after they have cleaned things up, after they have demonstrated that, yes, they are ready to partner. We brought stuff to our side of the table. What have we brought? We brought examples of successful partners that did choose us rather than going with their friends, right? These people are very happy. They've testified in videos how happy they are, right? So we have that. We have evidence. What do you have that proves that you're a good partner, right? You have a failed relationship with your last management company, right? Why don't you prove that you can be worthy of us? Don't get too caught up, right? A lot of times we have owner halo. We believe owners are always perfect. They're always doing great things. They're great knows owners, right? She knows they're not all perfect. So you need to kind of think about it in the very beginning, right? Like, it's like, I have not been divorced, right? You've been divorced twice. So why do I need to prove to you? Why do I? Okay, Nadine, imagine this. Imagine this is exactly what it's like, right? This person is getting divorced right now with their previous partner, okay? And you are dating them right now. You're trying to date them. They're saying, can you get rid of this person for me, and then I will marry you? No, right? Like, you get rid of this person yourself, right? And then you come clean because you're a divorcee, right? No, I mean, this is me. I come from divorced parents, so I feel a little bit more liberal saying this, right? But what I'm saying? It's like prove that you're worthy of my time, and that is important because that gets respect. You need to be able to know. That is another important thing in negotiation. You need to understand where you are and who you are. You don't need to always be like the person who apologizes or the person with the solution. Sometimes in negotiation, you have to say, you need to bring yourself, sir, to this point, and then I can bring you from this point onwards, right? If you want me to reach all the way to the bottom of your barrel and dig it out, I can do it, but it's not free. It will cost you. And you need to tell me how much you would like me to pay or how much you would like to pay me to move this problem away, because I don't work for free, right? That is also something that's important. We should not discount the value of our own labor. Not to be a dick, you're not trying to be nasty, but we don't work for free at the end of the day, and they shouldn't expect that. That's not a good beginning for any partner. So let's do a trade, right? You want me to bring you up to this level? Well, you are below the normal MQL level. So if you want me to bring, then what's it going to cost, right? To do this. So that's the way I would say. This is their problem. Let them take care of it. If they take care of it, like Lena said, that is a good indication that they do want to commit. If they don't want to take care of it, guess what? They're not really into you anyway, right? They're kind of, like, they're lazy, right? They're just like, okay. If they are lazy, if they are really lazy, you can benefit from that too. You say, give me a 25% commission, and I'll get rid of this for you, and you pay me 25% commission on the next 3 years. Yeah, can we agree on that? And then you can sign a deal on that, and then get to work. But don't get to work, and then and then they go, you know what? I changed my mind. Thank you for getting rid of that person. I decided to go with your competitor, who's offering me 10% off. You fucker! You made me do all that work for you, and that happens in business sometimes. You don't want to get you don't want to get down that route. Okay, so this is a cultural thing also as well. I've noticed this happens a lot more in Indonesia than in other countries. People will try to like kind of get that free work out of you. So definitely don't get involved in cleaning up their house. It's like, after you clean my house, I'll be your partner. Well, cleaning a house, there's a fee for cleaning a house, right? So I will charge you that, and then you can sign the contract. Okay. So that's the way I would approach it. Okay, does that make sense, everyone? So this is not so much a persuasion negotiation technique. This is more knowing when to persuade, when to negotiate, and it's okay to say no to bad negotiations. It's actually perfectly fine. Say no, but renegotiate. Right? If you do this, then I will do this. Right? If you clean up your partner, how about we start again from the very beginning? Right? How about you get rid of your partner, and then I will consider becoming your new partner. How's that sound? Right? And let's negotiate that as the correct outcome. Not, we will do this for that. I don't think that's a good negotiation. Okay. I'll go back to Nadine. What do you think?
That's actually a very interesting and a thorough kind of like explanation sort of conclusion also, because at first I'm also still like kind of blurred, but then you kind of bring the example of like you're marrying someone who's still in the process of a divorce, and it's like, oh, now that it makes sense, why would I want to be marrying someone that's still in the process of a divorce?
Because we often think of partners as too good. We're like, oh, we have halo effect on partners. Partners need us as much as we need them, right? It's like, and in many cases they need us more. There is a lot of hardware in the country. There's a lot of properties. There's not a lot of good management. So in effect, what we have is more rare than what they have. So in that particular dimension, you don't need to like over. And this is important, everyone. When you negotiate, this is where I bring over the HR side of the business. Select who you negotiate with. All right, we don't let anybody. Let's say we select our employees very carefully. select your partner very carefully, right? The most important part is generally not their property; it's the relationship. If you have a good relationship with a partner, their properties will improve over time because they'll think of ways to improve and they'll like you, and you can build a business together with them. You have terrible partnerships. The property is great, but the relationship deteriorates. Babe, you remember Jan, right? He had Villa Singa. He was an example of that. Great property, cliffront thing, but just every day he took an inch. Every day he would say, you know what? This is the way it generally works, right? Nobody tries and fucks you over right away, right? They do it a little bit at a time. They do a little bit at a time, and then after a while, you realize you've given them permission every time to take a little bit without asking anything back in return. And that's when you know that the deal is going bad. The deal is not going very fairly for us. So detect it. You should reverse yourself. You should think every partner is a scoundrel, right? Maybe just try that for a month. Every partner is a scoundrel. Every partner is up to no good, right? And then until proven innocent. And that might actually reduce the halo effect that you have for a partner. Just change the mindset. And then eventually you will find balance. You'll find that some partners you can read and they're going to be great. Some partners are up to no good and you need to call them out right away, right? So that can be the effect. Does that make sense, Barry?
Yep.
Okay,
that
great.
Really makes sense. Yes. Welcome, Kyla. We actually just conclude your case actually. Mm-hmm.
Let's
But
tell Kyla.
I would like to hear Kyla's thought though.
Oh yeah, let's hear Kyla's thought.
Yeah.
Actually, I really just got in, so maybe Kagre, can you please repeat the conclusions about what should I do?
No. Your thoughts
Nadine,
first.
Nadine wants to hear your thoughts first on like the situation, on like how you originally approach it, etc. Yep. Because you're here now.
Okay, actually, so because this is Nusa Penida, I cannot promise much. I cannot say that we have a lot of demand because we don't, right? We don't have. I also have asked advice from Kanadine, and she said, okay, no over promising, Kayla. And I said that okay, because for this case, actually, I was doing a cold calling. So I called the owners, just go straight calling them without chatting through first, and then, ay mah. Wait. Ada Eva lagi tidur. Sedang sakit. Okay, and then so when I call her, she was interested. She said like, okay, they got no problem with us marketing the properties, but they only have. It's kind of like a kayak curhat gitu. Okay, they have a problem with current management. I think based on what I saw through the Traveloka, I think the property is quite great actually. They have a lot of rooms and yeah, they have a pool and etc. And I think I actually want to try to convert them because I have talked to them personally, and I think like somehow they trust us to do the work. But I'm not sure about doing the persuasion with the old management because even if in professional condition, like saying you have to let go of the listing because we would like to promote it, I don't think it's doable. So I'm thinking about the first thing about offering the marketing without really closing the old listing. Like I hope that they can actually forget about the old listing because when I check, since they have no relationship with the old management, there is no booking coming in. There's no booking coming in from the there's no guest coming in. So I think yeah, it has no effect gitu. Okay, yeah, it's just there, but really don't have any effect upon the management thing. I think that's it. What was the conclusion?
Wait. Before that, I want to ask something, Kyla.
Yes.
Why do you think that you should approach the old partner of them?
They suggest it because they suggest. So the manager said like, okay, Mbak, actually, we don't have a problem like about promoting in OTAs. We only have agents for now. our owners, they don't believe in management because the issue. They don't want to use OTA anymore because of that. But if you could actually help us with that, and I've got the idea about approaching, but I haven't done that. I'm asking for advice here. Yeah, because that's the idea.
Okay. So it's still your idea. So did they
Yeah.
so they
No,
okay.
but I didn't promise anything.
Oh, okay, you didn't promise anything. Did
No.
they promise you anything?
They actually said like if you could help us to close the listing, you get promoted and we can have a partnership. And I was like, okay, I want to
Mm,
convert. But I didn't say that I'm going to contact them. I'm thinking about contacting them, but I haven't contacted them. And I don't know how because they only have the Traveloka and Airbnb and everything, but I'm not sure how to contact them through that.
mm. Okay, that's actually very interesting because basically because from the conclusion and now hearing from like your perspective, I don't know how to put this in a much more nicer way. Um, I don't know if you noticed, Kyla. You're actually uh, I don't know how to say it. It's like when there's a people that is called like a pushover, right? Like
A
yeah.
pushover.
I really don't know how to say it really
Oh,
nicely.
so you're thinking that they're using us to get the deal done?
Yes, correct. Without you
I thought about it.
unknowingly agree because you only had one goal on your mind, right? To convert. So you
Yeah.
want to do anything to get them to
No.
convert,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Honestly, yes, I want to do it.
But yes, go ahead, Mr. G.
Okay, I think what Gray could have said is that it's I'm sure Kylie came with the correct. That's a label, Gray. By the way, so Gray just labeled Kyla a pushover. But I think the philosophy here is when to negotiate, when not to negotiate, Kyla. Okay, so in most of our discussions here, we talk about how to negotiate, but we never talk about when you actually should negotiate. This situation is a person who is giving you essentially their own problem. They're saying I used the analogy just before. Let's say you want to marry a person who's going through a divorce. Okay, so they're getting divorced right now, and you want to marry them, and they tell you, you know what? Can you deal with my ex? After you get rid of my ex, then I will marry you. They're like, why is your ex my business, right? That's like that's worse than zero. That's negative, right? How about you get rid of your ex and then I come in after everything's okay again? So that's essentially the nature of this particular deal. It's funny because in that situation it's more clear, right? But it's pretty much the same thing. They have an issue with their previous management company, so that's their problem. I mean, Wayna just told me that before she offered our services to this person a year ago or whatever, before the person chose their other management company. So they had a choice and they chose the wrong thing. And now why is it my business to unlock your mistake, right? Like if you got yourself in this situation, then you need to get yourself out. You need to find somebody who will get yourself out, right? So this is actually when we decide when to negotiate, when not to negotiate, and this goes back to this idea of why this is happening. My analysis for why this is happening is two reasons. Kyla just said it. She wants to get the deal. Wanting to get the deal is a strong motivation on our side, but not getting fooled is also a pretty strong motivation, right? You don't want to get a situation where you spend months getting dragged through this deal because now it's your problem, right? Now you got to find a way to kick out the old person, and believe me, you're not the best person to fire the old manager, right? You at all. Since when does the new manager, the owner? That's why you have owners, right? Owners make decisions on who manages their property and what the manager does. That's between the owner and the previous manager, not between you know. Have you ever gone into a job and you go and you fire the person who you're replacing? No, right? That doesn't make any sense. That's senseless, right? Your employer fires the person, hires you, and then they say, "Okay, you get this job after you fire this person who I'm having problems with." what? That's kind of stupid. This nonsense deal, right? It's like, fuck you, right? It's like, get out of here. So don't. So this is an example of that. You want the deal, but you also have to maintain the correct form of respect. And I suggested to Gray that just think of every partner that you're potentially talking to as a scumbag, right? Just think of them. This person might be out to trick me. Let's start with that bias first and then work our way to the other side, because I think right now we might have the opposite bias. We have the bias that every owner is great and they deserve our business, right? Just earlier, Kyla mentioned something else that was pretty interesting. She mentioned that the owner, we can't promise it anything because there's nobody going to Nusa Penida, which is true, right? But that's your perspective. From their perspective, it looks different. From their perspective, what they see is this: are you better than what I have right now, right? So yes, nobody's bringing anybody to Nusa Penida, right? But maybe I'm working with a partner that's even worse than that. That's even more negative. That's stealing money from me, right? Maybe so. When you actually think about a situation, try not to think about it from your own. A lot of gigantic deals were done not because the person who got the deal was the best option. It was just better than what the other person had to do at the time, right? Like, think about it this way. A simple example, okay? A bottle of water, okay? If I give you a bottle of water, I say, you pay me 50 million rupiah for this water, you'll tell me, no, Jing, I can obviously go down to that store over there and get it for 2,000 rupiah. You can go and take your 50 million and shove it, right? But if I say bottle of water or die because you haven't had water for 6 days in the middle of the desert, 50 million rupiah sounds like a pretty good deal, right? It's like, okay, I can pay it and not die, right? And maybe work my way out of the desert. So we have to think about this not from our perspective of can we give them yes or not. We have to think about, is it better than what they currently have? That, I think, Nadine, that's a Daniel Pink thing, right? Every decision is always made on, is this better than? We don't all marry, Brad Pitt, right? Some of us marry normal men, you know. If we had our best, then why didn't that happen? Because it was better than being single, right? That's why we married who we married, right? Or it was better than the other person who was way uglier looking. So we have to think about things in terms of like the client's perspective. What is better than? When you can start thinking that way, you will get a lot more control, a lot more power in your negotiations, right? It explains why people buy $2,000 handbags, right? Why do they buy a $2,000 handbag? Because it's better than going to the same party with your friend who has the $2,000 handbag and showing up with a $1,000 handbag. That's what it's better than. It's not better than, like if I'm looking at it, why would it be better than that? But from their perspective, that could be why I spent $2,000 on a handbag, because it's better than being seen next to my friend who has a $1,800 handbag, right? That's what kind of drives this people's decision making. So you don't necessarily need to do the greatest. You just need to do better than whatever they have, and that will be good enough in most cases, right? It's like, I need a management company. I don't want to manage this myself. You're better than the other person, so you get it, and that's it. And that's what you can find in the discovery sometimes, right? You can find, oh, you have a manager that's stealing from you. Okay, all right. Are you happy with that? Some people, surprisingly, some people are not too upset by that. We have a partner. He has accepted that that's going to happen. he's even told me, right? He's like, you know what, Jane, that's just the cost of doing business. I've realized, right? Sometimes you're going to lose a bit of money because people will just disappear. So for him, it's like maybe not a big thing, but maybe for somebody else who's like, I need to have honest people around me all times, then that's already better than, even if that manager was potentially more better, right? Maybe more valuable. They won't have him because they're dishonest. So that is a really strong thing to think about. Think about what is better than. Okay? Do we have anybody better than this to go after right now? Well, that was a good question, right? Is there not another partner that can start at least from a neutral position? I think so. So let's go for that. Okay, let's go over to Nadine. Nadine, what do you think?
Yes, sir. I would agree with all of that actually. But I think the situations that Kayla is facing is have a different background with Mo'Wayana. So Mo'Wayana is actually knows that we approached this partner before, right? And then this is also about the data. And then the funny thing is actually the owners is not the one who approaching us, sir. So our canvasser, one of our canvasser is approach them. They thought this is the first approach, so that's why Kyla motivation to convert is so high. That's what I think, Kyla. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, Kyla. And then this, okay, I'm just curious, sir, what would you do if this villa, for example, like this, since the example is the one is Nusa Penida, Kyla, you need to know that they are in need actually, because Nusa Penida is actually empty, right? They have a higher urgency to for the marketing than the other location actually, because they are very empty. So that should be easier basically. But for example, sir, if this happened to a villa like Pak Chris or Bu Lili, and then they offer us a trade like that, is there any way to win the deal?
Okay, so let's say Pak Chris had a second villa, right? And he said, in my second villa, I have a second manager, and this management is doing this. Can you get rid of them? And I would negotiate on that particular term. I would negotiate on that expectation. I would ask Pak Chris, so you want me to get rid of your existing manager? Is that correct? And Pak Chris says, yes. Sounds like maybe you aren't able to do it yourself. And then I would explore and discover why, right? I would try to find out why he can't do it himself, right? I would try to figure out, okay, you're telling me you can't do it yourself because you haven't approached yet. Have you thought maybe if you approach them, then they might listen to you, right? So I would try to convince him and persuade him to actually take action on. Look, a lot of times persuasion negotiation is not about actually discovery. You already know what the right answer is. It's about getting the other person to understand what the right answer is. So before we negotiate, I think the first thing we should analyze is, are we doing the right thing, right? And the right thing could be two dimensions. One dimension from, let's say, an integrity point of view. Is somebody doing something that makes you lower your integrity? Well, you shouldn't do it, right? That's just simple as that. Unless you want to live with yourself thinking that you're a person of no integrity. So that's number one. The second thing you need to ask, if it's the right thing to do, is to analyze, does it make sense? Is it logical? Now, if Buck Chris asked me to fire his manager or to replace his management, he would need to give me power to do that first by making me his new manager, right? I mean, what business is it of mine as a nobody, right, to deal with his manager when I'm just, that just doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you don't have a candidate go and... So the first thing I would negotiate is who needs to do this particular thing. And in my opinion, it's very clearly Pak Chris, okay? If he wants me to do it, then I can say, you know what? I have no experience doing this, which is true. I have no guarantee I can do it successfully, but I'd like to be paid for my time, right? Since you were asking me to do this outside of the thing. Would you agree to pay me for my time and have no guarantee if the results are going to be there, okay? And he's going to have to say, I don't know about that. Is it worth it? Is it worth it, right? Is it worth it to do this? Remember, what he wants has nothing to do with whether or not I can replace the current management. What he wants is to have me be his new manager, okay? That's what he wants, all right? That's what he's paying me to do, to be his new manager. What he's asking me to do is to do this other thing, which I have no experience doing, and I have no way of offering. So I just be honest. I'd be like, Pak Chris, I have no experience doing this before. I don't even know if I'm going to be successful at it. But would you mind paying me $2,000 for my time to attempt this particular thing? Because that's my cost for doing this. And he'll have to think, paying you $2,000 with no guaranteed results doesn't sound like a very good idea. I said, yeah, you know what? You're right. Not a good idea at all. I think you should do it. So I failed, but I succeeded too, right?
Yeah.
So that can be one approach I would go in that particular regard. Let's say, yeah, that's the simplest way, right? Just be honest. Like you're not doing the worst thing in negotiation is pretending to be somebody that you're not. Actually, that gets you sticky, and this happens a lot in Indonesia. This happens all the time in Indonesia. You guys get we're part of this culture that wants to please people. We're part of this culture that wants to like have people think we're awesome, right? Don't do that in negotiation. Don't do that with dangerous people. Some people will take advantage of that, and they will keep on like, right? I saw that happen a lot in my experience in business, especially in construction. That happens a lot. I want to be impressive. I want to show that I'm awesome. Okay, all right, do this. It's not good enough. So throw it away. But I spent so much money doing it. It's not good enough. Why? Because I say it's not good enough. Not that it's actually not good enough, but because you've given agency to me to make these kinds of decisions. Okay? So you need to establish essentially who you are, what you're going to do, and why you're going to do it. Right? So Pak Chris, I have no experience doing this. I don't know. I can attempt to do it, but I need to be paid for my time. Would you pay me for my time? Right? Yeah, this is fair. It's fair. This is the way management works, right? Or you could be kind enough and do it yourself and fire them, right? Tell them that from this day on, you're not going to work with them. You would like to do this, or you will take legal action against them. That's for you to decide, not me, right? I'm not your lawyer. I don't have power over this. That's well within your place, and you can do it for much cheaper than if you ask me to do it. Remember, this actually this comes unrelated at all. Wait, no, Daniel Pink, right? Daniel Pink. Remember, this goes back to that Daniel Pink lesson. We haven't talked about that one yet, but this is a way to reduce unreasonable requests. Okay, say you are an architect. You're an architect, and this happens all the time with architects. It gets so ridiculous. The architect is getting a request from the client. They've already built the house. The client says, well, can you include a jacuzzi? And the young architect who's inexperienced will say, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll include jacuzzi. And then the client comes back and says, can you include an infinity edge pool? Okay. All right, I'll include an infinity edge pool. Okay. Oh, you know what? I just had another. Could you add another story to the building? You know, it's only 2 stories. I like it to be 3. What are you forgetting to do? You're forgetting to ask for something back in return, right? You need to ask for something back in return. You need to say, I could do it, but it's going to cost you, right? Or I could do it, but okay, if you put a jacuzzi in, what would you like to remove? Right? I have to take something else away, right? It's not for free. I have to make your bedroom smaller. Would you be okay with that? No, I want a big bedroom. Okay, you need to tell me what you want to decide, bigger bedroom or jacuzzi, right? I can do whether one or the other. But if you do the jacuzzi, I'm going to also have to charge you extra for the new designs and everything. So please take into that account. Because if you don't manage the client, they're going to keep on asking, and you're going to keep on doing all this free work, and it will never end, right? So we need to think about like, okay, what is essentially the way to manage this now? Okay, that could be that. Now, now it depends, right? Now, some places like school, like Bukit Vista, interns, right? Maybe we're doing this to actually develop you as a person. Maybe we're doing this because you need to upskill. That could be a different purpose, right? But if the purpose is to just essentially get more, extract more service or extract more at the same cost, then you should defend yourself against these particular maneuvers. Partners will use this a lot. A lot of them are business people, and they know how these things work, right? They know somebody wants to make me happy. Okay, I'll just keep on asking for more, and keep on stacking. It's not their fault either. If you keep on saying yes, then you're not. I think they're also the reason why Wayana, she's seen it before. I've seen it before. So that's this. This is what they say you need experience, right? When you see it before so many times, you go, I know where this is going. I'm going to stop you right here, right? Before we get to the 5th change. Because that's generally what keeps on happening. Okay? So that's how I would manage Chris or Claire or whatever. If you really have the respect of someone, they won't try that shit on you. They know that relationships. Okay, you have the respect of somebody when you actually. What is a relationship, right? A relationship is I do something for you, and if you do something for me, I feel indebted to you, right? That's what a relationship is. Let's say I go to Grace's house, right? Let's say this happens. I go to Grace City in Batam. She brings me all over the city. She buys me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I say, Gray, don't do it. And then Gray says, no, I want to. You're my boss. I respect you. This is why I'm doing it, right? And I go, great. And then when Gray comes to visit me in Bali, I let her pay the bill again, right? That shows that there's no respect, right? There's no relationship. It's like, okay, I should at least reciprocate, right? If we have a relationship, I should say, hey, look, Gray, you took care of me when I visited you. I'm going to take care of you when you come visit Bali. I'm going to make it even better, right? I'm going to bring you to like even better places than you brought me. So that's how you know you have a relationship with your potential client, okay? But if they keep on saying, okay, you can pay the bill now. Okay, you can pay the bill now. Okay, you can pay the bill. It's like, so that's what I think. Yeah, that's how you know you built up the trust too as well when they don't do it and expect.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Jing. I think we're all quite stunned with the explanation. But Mo, do you
Good.
want to say something? Because you unmute.
I just want to add on that if like this is the same case exactly like the being in Garden View. So they're saying that, oh, I am now like, I've been working with them for a number of years, but this is what happened. Okay. So why you just realize now? And then how do you know Bukit Vista? Like, why do you think Bukit Vista is better? And I listened to that, like discover more, like, and then I said, like, of course I'm helping them, like, but helping them themselves. Not I'm jumping to like, solve their problem. So what I did was, okay, I understand that your problem and then you want to go here. Okay, totally understand. Like, in business sometimes like whatever that you do is not accordingly, it's gonna happen with whatever, but I think need to go to the right way. So and then so I'm confused, what should I do? And then okay, if that the case, so based on what you experience, so you're the owner, you decide before with them. If you not agree with the term and condition or like not happy with them, you just tell them that you're not happy with. I think in business people accept, as long you have a reason, um, reasonable, and actually the fact that you saying to them, not make it up or whatever. So just be honest that you're not happy with the performance, whatever it is. You just state it, whatever. So it's basically just help them help themselves. So nothing wrong that you saying, you know, you end the contract here. In business, it's very normal. You swap around and you do the best interest of your property or whatever it is. But that's what you should say to the partner. Because I'm here in Bali, I'm Balinese, I'm going around being a lot. I don't want like, because of one property, I'm, have friction everywhere. But just I'm gonna have friend everywhere. But if you decide go with me, that's totally okay. Like, if you decide not with them, totally okay. That's your right. But I'm not gonna jump to your problem. You finish the problem. If you need my advice, this is how you're gonna do it, and I'm gonna wait until you finish your paper. So yeah, that's why it take longer for the being in green to on board, because they need to finish in their end first.
All right, is that all? Mo?
Yes.
I'm curious what Nadine would have said in the very
Yeah.
beginning. Actually, so Nadine in the very beginning said we could be more helpful, but let's go to Nadine and see what that would have been.
Yep. I see her raise her hand several times now.
I mean, I was wondering, is there any other actually I would agree with Wayana, but Wayana when sharing her uh opinion at the very first time, it sounds so rude, sir. So I was thinking like, okay, is there any better delivery to do that? I mean, so
For
that's why.
delivery for the partner, yes, but for the in here, I just
Use mine, right?
yeah.
Use my delivery. Just use mine. You say, I have no experience doing this, but if you want me to do it, I can try doing it. I might not succeed, and it's going to cost you because I would have to stop trying to approach other partners. Do you want me to do that? And they'll be like, okay, how much is it going to cost? I estimate I generally make this much money on doing things like this way, but if you want me to do it this way, then you have to compensate for me to do that and perhaps more. Does that sound like a good deal?
Yeah.
And then immediately they'll say no because they're looking for some they're looking to get a freebie, right? So as soon as they know they have to pay, they're like, oh no, okay, I'll do it
No,
myself.
internally I said that, Nadine, but with partner, no, like I'm not strict like that, you know.
Yeah, because
Like
because
this is
you're
like for
you're the first.
internal mindset thinking, you know. You're
Yeah,
not like
because you're the one, the first
around and this is
who
strict,
say,
this is the way. But
yeah,
for the
because
partner, like of course different, like you know, like the way we talk, you know. Start
yeah, I was
having
just shocked more because you're the first person sharing your thought, right? And then no, it's their problem. Okay, something like that. But actually,
yeah.
I'm still curious with this case. Actually, Kyla. So since you also mentioned that it's there is no that listing that's still there in the internet is not gonna affect anything. So why don't you ask yourself why this person asked you to do that though? Like is this person, do they know is doesn't affecting anything? Or I mean, if they know, then obviously they just gonna fool us, you know. Obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you know that that is not gonna affect anything, then yeah, I'm just curious, why is this person asking us to do that?
Okay, so after hearing all this business talk, I think it's not going to be reasonable. And sure, they might have. I think if we can actually help them close the listing, they would actually try to make their own listings and promote themselves or anything to help themselves. But yeah, thinking of it, I'm putting this case looking so naive.
Well, I think if I want to add, it kind of brings back to what Mr. Jing said. The more experience you have, the more you see how the business world
You,
goes.
this is scary though.
Like
That's scary
the
because
first you enter, you kind of have a naive look, like, oh, everyone is so nice, and then you kind of know, like that.
It's not actually okay. This is the way I would put it, right? Kyler, it doesn't mean you have to throw this away. This is a person that could be guided, right? So it's kind of like, how would I put it? If you look like a victim, then people start becoming criminals, right? I think that might be the way, the analogy in the business world. Because oh, you know what it's like, if okay, let's say there's an idiot in the market and they're just like they put the zero in the wrong place, right? On selling meat, they put, instead of like 50,000 per kilo of gambing, they put 5,000 per kilo of gambing. Then wouldn't everybody in the market go, oh my God, let me buy like 100 kilos, right? Let me buy 1,000 kilos. And they would just start buying this stuff for as long as they could until somebody found out, oh my God, I've sold all my meat for 10 times cheaper. So in business, sometimes it's like that, right? Sometimes it's not that it's, people try to get more if they can get more. It's not like they're doing anything bad. Actually, you have to like not think of this as like they're doing anything wrong. They're just helping themselves, which is what kind of business is based on, right? It's kind of based on what's my own benefit from this particular transaction. So they haven't done anything wrong by trying to get, let's say, this particular thing. If they can get this work done for free, then hey, why not, right? You know, they're a smart business person, right? They got Bukit Vista to get rid of their problem for them. But you don't want to get into this situation. This is actually, this discussion is, I've spoken so much about it, but this is a great discussion. Because let me tell you a story. I'll tell you guys a story of how we fucked up really big, right? And I never forgot it. So what happened was, we used to have La Jolla. Okay? La Jolla was the crown jewel of Bukit Vista. It was this 30-room beachfront resort, private beach. We brought it from like level 0 to like level 10, the whole ride. The management got a little bit upset that we were taking so much money from the growth of the property. And, in retrospect, I could see their perspective. We were not investors, we were marketers, and we were getting 1/6 of the total amount of revenue coming into the property. So they thought, we need to get rid of this problem. So this is what happened, right? They brought in another management company, okay? They brought in that management company to try to get rid of us, okay? So they couldn't have gotten this to work unless we agreed to actually battle the other company, but they did. They negotiated that company to try to get rid of us, and us to try to get rid of them. Guess what happened in the end?
Both fail?
We both failed, right? They got rid of both of us. So they got rid of both of us because both of us now didn't have. So while we were fighting each other, La Jolla was building their own website and building their own little booking engine and selling their own rooms and putting their own guests and blocking both of our channels, right? So they weren't setting up a fair fight. If they try to do that shit again now, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. You either go with me 100% or I'm leaving right now, right?
It's recorded, by the way.
Oh yeah, but okay. Well, I would tell them to go fuck themselves again if they tried to do that again to their face, because that is a sucker deal. That is essentially this kind of deal, right? Get rid of my other. I finally figured this out. I studied my Chinese history, and this is how governments get rid of rebels. They get one rebellion to get rid of the other rebellion, and then then they tell the winners of the rebellion, you can come to the capital and become officials in our official government. So it's a tactic, and you don't want to do this. You don't want to be part, or this is why we go exclusive only, right? Because then the owner doesn't set one group against another group and have you fight each other, and then the owner sits back and now I control everything, right? That's a loser deal. We paid quite a lot of money to learn that, so I'm sharing that to you so that in your careers you don't get tricked on that one. Okay, so don't get tricked. Yeah, that's called that's let's call that the La Jolla trick, right? Because that's what they do. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is. So never be the person to try to replace the manager. Never be the manager who is getting. If they want to fire you, then fire me today, right? Don't keep me around and bring the new manager here and expect that I'm going to teach the new manager all these things and whatever. Just you don't want me, then okay, pay me to do a transition. I'll pay me to do the transition, right? Keep me for a month. I'll do the transition, and that will be end. But don't try this sneaky shit, right? Where you're getting one person to replace the other person, not telling the first person what's happening. So bad integrity. That's bad integrity. Okay, anyway, I think we've covered this to the very end of its and cemented it with a story, right? So you can remember, yeah, that I'll recognize that now when it happens. They don't write about this in business books. They should. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Jing, for the tips and trick, actually. And
I just remember what this is called. I remember what this is called. This is called divide and conquer. It's called divide and conquer, right? Have you ever wondered how the Dutch, with a much smaller population, was able to colonize Indonesia? They didn't do it themselves, right? They went to one group and said, I will give you weapons. And then they went to the other group and I will give you weapons. You fight the other group. You fight this group, right? So they set the Surakarta people against the Jogjakarta people. They fought each other. And then the Dutch are like, now I don't have any enemies, right? You guys are both weak now. Now I'm just going to walk in. So don't fall for that. That's a divide and conquer. Yeah. So that might happen with these situations. Sales teams will be the first to understand. See, that's why it's fun to work in sales. You get to see these like little intrigues happening. Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jing. Does Kylet's that clear your head or your situation on how to approach it?
Actually, this kind of mindset helps me with two others property owners.
Oh, nice.
I'm thinking about just being what Moana say, just being honest and tell them what we can do and what we cannot do. And yeah, I think this helps with two properties, which is our partners, Villa Arcturus, that wanted to fire their operational staff, but they kind of indicate that they need us to provide operational staff 24 hours for them. And yeah, I'm just going to say what we have right now. And the second one I think is Moana, if you remember, the one that calls me asking if we can market their apartment in Depok, but they have no operational team. Yeah, that one. Okay, I think that's clear.
Quite interesting. In Depok, Jakarta. Hello.
Yeah,
okay.
You can do those deals, Kyla. Those deals are not bad deals. You just need to figure out how to. Now, look, the operational side, as long as we're honest, we say we don't have any operational within Bukit Vista, but we might be able to partner you with a team that does operations, right? Yeah. These are not generally hard to find. These are called house cleaners, right? Or such. They're pembantu sometimes. So that you can definitely do. That could be part of the package, right? That's something that you put in the package. But this is slightly different. Let me we have a particular guideline for approaching partners with existing management. Okay, we try to slip ourselves in and say, hey, look, would you consider us? The correct thing to do as an owner is to say, all right, there's going to be a transition period where I've decided I'm going to use Bukit Vista and stop using you. Okay, you both get brought to that meeting. Okay, and then they say, all right, here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer over this, and I'd like there to be a fair transfer. I will take care of my previous management, and you will do this. The incorrect way is to have you fight the other group, and that's a mess, right? What exactly is that person expecting? How are guests going to benefit from this? Your two management companies fighting over control of the hotel. That's very unprofessional. The right way is to it's like an employee thing, you okay, you're replacing this person will guide you on your onboarding and so on and so forth, and this will be the exit. So yeah, just pay attention to that. Not everything is dishonest. If a person, they say they don't have operational, that's okay, right? They need operational. We don't have operational. Can we partner with somebody that has operational? Certainly can. Can they hire operational on their own? We can negotiate for that. Would it be really impossible for you to find a staff? I mean, everyone else has one in their house, right? Can you find one for your hotel? Right, on your own. We provide the other layers that are generally necessary. Okay, all right, that's that. Back to Greg.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Jeng, for the add-on. Yeah, we kind of have 1 minute left. Probably need to extend for like 5 minutes for like the conclusion. But yes, to Nadine.
Yes. Actually, I would about to say the same thing with Mr. Jing, but now, Kyla, then how would you leave leads? Basically, how would you proceed these leads after this meeting, Kyla?
Oh, this one, the Nusa Penida one?
Yeah.
Well, I would just tell them basically what Mr. J has said, that we cannot do that because it's not our business, but we can help. We can help actually if they want to have a partnership with us. We can help with the marketing or what we have in store, but not with the relationship with I have with the old management. I think because that's not our boundaries, and maybe for Villa Arcturus, it's offer to have the vendors help them or to the owner to find their own stuff. And for the Depok area, it's still with click and clean, if they would accept that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
This is just a tips, Kyla. If you really motivated to convert the one in Nusa Penida, since I heard you really want to convert this, right? If you really believe that the old listing doesn't affecting anything, you can just explain it to the owner, right? So there is no problem with that. Actually, we can still proceed the partnerships or something like that. If you really, but make sure about that first. You cannot.
Discovery more.
You need to
More discovery
discover
first.
what is it really not affecting or will affect. But if you already believe it's not, you can still secure the deal, I think. Kyla, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Oyana.
Yeah, so just Kyla, also make sure you talk to the owner, not the manager, because sometimes people just hang around in the villa. They call themselves manager as well in Penida. That like family, that whatever, that hey, can you just look after my place, and they call themselves a manager. So you need to, if you wanna do this, like I would like to meeting with the owner online to explain this. So yeah, because with this place, people I brought by like consider themselves like still relative, but I asked to meet the manager, no, and meet the owner, and then the manager say no, but actually it's still relative, so it's a blocker. So that's why I decided, what you call it. Actually, I never met the owner, and the manager decided, oh, I'm gonna go with their friends. So yeah, it's not transparent, in the organization.
Okay. So I think we can kind of. Thank you, Mokwayana. I think we can kind of.
Back to you.
Yes. I think we can kind of conclude for like this discussion. This is actually such an interesting discussion because this is only one case, but we actually discuss about this for like an hour. I think it also comes like from our principle itself. When we approach people, we should know like our value. We should know. So like you don't devalue yourself just to get a deal.
Yep.
It's something like that.
There's a lot of takeaways here. In this case is great because it revealed a lot of ideas that can be tied to the case, and it's actually a perfect case in many ways. It could be a test case actually for new people who join the chapter.
Yes, actually, that could actually work as like a case study management. Like, what would you approach and see where they come from? So yeah, and besides that, I think what we can conclude is also to know what we sell and if they do really want us. Like, do they need us or do we need them? Like, So that's where do you need to negotiate or do you need to have a certain principle on what you sell? I think that's how I can conclude it, like, shortly from all of the.
Put it in, Gray. Yeah, write it in.
Yes. Miss Nadi, please write it. I actually forgot what I just said.
I wrote it, but it doesn't show in your screen actually.
I probably need to refresh. No, okay.
Ladies,
yes,
listen. This is the takeaway. You can actually just use the existing 5-step process, right? And you would actually discover this problem at level 4. Okay. So after you, let's say, does this person trust you? Obviously, right? They're telling you what all their intimate secrets are, right? They're telling you their problems with their existing management. In fact, it's you that should wonder, should you trust them at this point? So you've gone through step 2 correctly. You've discovered correctly. But where you discover there's a problem, actually, where you realize the problem is in step 4. You realize in step 4 that we don't have actually anything that does a management replacement type situation, right? We don't have a service to replace other managers. That is a service that we don't carry, so we just have to state that. You seem to be asking for something that we don't do, actually. So I don't know how to bill you for it. Right? I don't know how to actually charge you for it. So that's where you discover there's something incorrect about this deal. So you can still follow the framework, and it would give you the same conclusion at the end.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jing, for the add-on. And yes, I think that kind of conclude our meeting for Thursday today. Thank you so much all for all the add-ons and all the quotes that we learned today and all the principle. And I hope you guys have a lovely day ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Great. One last thing, to really cement some of these ideas that we've talked about today, like the persuasive framing, contrasting, the better than deal, I put this lesson on Masterclass from Daniel Pink. He's one of the strongest sales and persuasion people out there. Take a look at it. It's not very long. I think it's only about, it's like 15 minutes or so. But in addition, it's 24 minutes. I generally play it at 2x speed, so I get it done in 12 minutes.